All right, breaking news coming out in about the past hour today, September the 18th, 2025, as we have seen a massive 7.8 earthquake hit in Russia along the Pacific Ring of Fire. Tsunami alerts have been issued. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest on that. And in addition to that, the White House actually coming out and giving a warning about the fulfillment of biblical prophecy tied to the earthquakes that are happening right now. Let me know your thoughts on this. Is God angry? That is literally what we're hearing from the White House right now. If you think so, put yes. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But let's take a look at the headlines coming out. You can see here just a little while ago, the 7.8 that struck over in Russia, the Kamchatka Peninsula, yet again, trembling the entire Pacific. We are seeing those waves spreading as we speak. Today, September the 18th, you can see here tsunami advisory issued after a 7.8 magnitude earthquake near Russia has just struck. Tsunami advisory issued in Alaska after a massive quake strikes off of Russia near the site of July's historic trembler. The quake is likely an aftershock of the historic 8.8 earthquake that struck on July 29th, sending tsunami alerts across much of the Pacific Ocean. And take a look here. The White House, Carolyn Leavitt, appears to connect the earthquake to Charlie Kirk's death and biblical prophecy. And again, let me know in the comments. Is God angry? That's literally what they say right now. If you think so, put yes. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts. But we're going to hear what the White House had to say about God's stance on what's going on in the world. Now, in addition to that, California also getting struck with some minor earthquakes today as well. September the 18th, a 2.4 magnitude recorded near Petrolia, and also a 2.1 in Round Valley, California. And let me know your thoughts. In addition to that, I had people messaging me, letting me know that 8.8 that struck the Kamchatka Peninsula back at the end of July was recorded as the sixth largest that we have seen in quite some time since the recording of these massive earthquakes. And that sixth largest one, they said, was so powerful it actually caused the earth to wobble on its axis. And they said very minute, but they actually managed to make the days shorter just ever so slightly. So they're saying these earthquakes are actually trembling the entire earth to the point where they are saying the days are actually being shortened. And now the White House coming out and warning, hey, consider God's opinion about everything going on and the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So I'm going to dive right in, get you caught up on the latest. And before we do me a quick favor. If you appreciate the updates, keeping you up to speed on everything, take a quick second before we dive in. Hit that thumbs up like button for me. When you push that, just takes a second, really helps out the channel a ton. I appreciate it. Just spreads this out further across the YouTube platform while we're live. And in addition to that, if you appreciate the updates, keeping you up to speed on everything, and you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not hit that subscribe button? I'll keep you up to speed on breaking news as it unfolds. And as you know, here on the channel, I cite all of my sources. So all the articles I'm going to be referencing for you today and in every live stream, I'm going to put it on the screen, read right from it word for word, and have it hyperlinked, cited in the description, so you can click it, go read it for yourself, so that way you can know, rest assured, this is the latest updated information that is coming out. And we're hearing this coming out in about the past hour today, September the 18th, 2025. So let's go ahead and get into the details, because I'm also seeing here that they're saying that parts of the Pacific are on that tsunami alert right now, but there are other parts they're saying don't have to worry about it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, so that way you can see it for yourself. So let's take a look at this storm tracker right here. Now, this article says Portland, Oregon coming out. They're saying there is no tsunami threat for the U.S. West Coast. So Portland, they're saying you don't need to be concerned. Following a 7.8 magnitude earthquake in Russia's Kamchatka region. Now, the NWS Tsunami Warning Center issued an all clear just before 1:10 p.m. Now, so that's just about an hour or so ago. The earthquake struck just before noon Pacific Standard Time, about 80 miles east of the Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, Russia, at a depth of 6 miles. Now, the region is near the location of an 8.8 magnitude earthquake that struck in late July in 2025. So that exact same area, we are seeing it hit over and over and over again. The state of Hawaii, now, they remain under a tsunami threat from this earthquake. So if you are in Hawaii, you are still under a watch for tsunami waves, according to the NWS. If a tsunami does occur, the earliest estimate impacts could be seen around 5:51 p.m., so that is still on the way. A tsunami advisory also remains in effect for the Aleutian Islands of the Alaskan Peninsula. Alaska is under tsunami warning as we speak. Now, according to the NOAA, an advisory means that a tsunami with strong waves is possible, and people under an advisory, they should get out of the water and off of the beach. People should also move away from harbors, marinas, breakwaters, bays, and inlets. Just stay away from the ocean right now, because the Pacific Ring of Fire, it is trembling. And here you can actually see the post that came out. Washington Emergency Management Division for the state of Washington. Undetermined danger. So we had heard that Portland, Oregon said for them, no risk. Washington, undetermined. Now it says the NWS NTWC has issued a tsunami information statement for a 7.8 magnitude earthquake located 90 miles east of Petropavlovsk, Kamchatka. Now, the danger to Washington state is still being determined. Updates will follow as more data is gathered. For more information, check back at www.tsunami.gov, #WAWX. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. This one just a headline and some video footage coming out. Tsunami advisory issued after a magnitude 7.8 earthquake near Russia. You can see this updated just 24 minutes ago. Here's another one from Fox Weather. Tsunami advisory issued in Alaska after massive quake strikes off of Russia near the site of July's historic trembler. The quake is likely an aftershock of the historic 8.8 earthquake that struck on July 29th, sending tsunami alerts across much of the Pacific Ocean, a massive 8.8, and yet here we are several months later with an aftershock 7.8. Now, this article reads, a 7.8 earthquake off the coast of Russia has triggered a tsunami advisory for the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. Excuse me, on Thursday, today. Now, the quake struck just before 11 a.m. Alaska Daylight Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and was centered about 90 miles east of the Petropavlovsk, Kamchatka, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Now, a tsunami advisory stretched from Amchitka Pass, Alaska, about 125 miles west of Adak, to Attu, Alaska. And I apologize, I know I'm probably butchering all of these names. A tsunami advisory is a lower rung alert for a tsunami, issued when small waves may impact an area. Strong currents could be dangerous to those in or near the water, and minor flooding of beaches and harbors is possible as well. And here you can see Tsunami Alert Alaska right now. You can see these areas that they are highlighting. Any tsunami waves would reach Shemya around 12:20 p.m. AKDT or 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No other U.S. or Canadian continental locations are in the alert zone, according to the U.S. Tsunami Warning Center. The situation for Hawaii is still under evaluation. Now, a tsunami threat exists for parts of the Pacific located closer to the earthquake. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center in Honolulu said, but it is still too early to determine whether there is a tsunami threat to Hawaii at this time. Here you can see magnitude 7.0 and up earthquakes. Eastern Russia and Japan since the 1950s. 94 total earthquakes. You can see here just absolutely devastating this area, and we have seen so many of them recently. Like I said, it's not uncommon to have earthquakes taking place, but at the magnitude of which we are having them, the intensity, it has gotten really, really strong as of lately, and that's why you're going to be seeing here in a second, we're hearing the warning coming out from the White House that God might be angry and we might be seeing the fulfillment of prophecy. This being spoken from the White House of the United States. Now it says any initial waves that would threaten Hawaii would not arrive in the Western Islands until 2:51 p.m. Hawaii time or 8:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then around Oahu 14 minutes later, and the Big Island closer to 3:30 p.m. Hawaii time. However, the agency is warning there could be tsunami waves of 3 to 9 feet or 1 to 3 meters along some parts of the Russian coast. Now, the quake is likely an aftershock of the historic 8.8 earthquake that struck on July 29th, sending tsunami alerts across much of the Pacific Ocean. While some minor tsunami waves were reported in Hawaii and along the U.S. West Coast, there was no significant damage that was reported. So there you have it. Man, a massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Now, this warning coming out from the White House. Let me know your thoughts. What is the cause of everything we're seeing right now? Is it the sun? I shared with you back in March 2025. We had heard that scientists are coming out and saying they believe that the coronal mass ejections, the solar emissions coming from the sun, heightened activity that is being released onto Earth is causing the tectonic plate movement. Is the sun causing this massive tectonic activity that we're seeing that's unleashing earthquakes, tsunamis, volcano eruptions? Is it God, as we're going to be reading here, the warning coming out from the White House? Or is this man-made, man-manipulated? Is it coming from man? As we've heard some speculate that this is weather manipulation. I've even heard some people say that this was a nuclear detonation that went bad in Russia that caused an 8.8 magnitude earthquake that registered on the Richter scale. What is the cause? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is it the sun? Is it God? Is it man? Is it natural? Tell me where you think these are coming from. But let's take a look at this warning coming out from the White House. Oh, yes, and if you haven't done so yet, do me a favor, hit that like button. It looks like we just need 50 more likes to hit 1,000 while we're live. We've got well over 3,000, looks like 3,200 people with me on live right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at this article, though, coming out as we're hearing the warnings from the White House. This article reads, the White House's Carolyn Leavitt appears to connect earthquake to Charlie Kirk's death and biblical prophecy. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Now, the article says, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt on Tuesday shared a social media post on a personal account suggesting that an earthquake recorded in Utah last week was a sign of God's anger at the shooting death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Wow. Let me know your thoughts. Is this God angry with the world? Leavitt, who describes herself as a devout Christian, shared a post on Instagram that read, on the night Charlie was shot, a 4.1 earthquake struck Utah. In Scripture, 40 represents trials. 41 signifies a shift. It hit at 5:57 local time, 7:57 Eastern time. Acts 7:57 describes Stephen, the first martyr, stoned as the crowd silenced his truth. The Bible says that the earth trembles when God is angry. That night, as a voice was silenced, the ground groaned. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments. She reposted the screenshot of a Twitter post adding, wow. According to the Daily Beast, a seismograph station operated by the University of Utah recorded a 4.1 magnitude earthquake at 5:57 p.m. local time, just hours after Kirk was killed by a single gunshot to the neck while speaking at Utah Valley University. The post shared by Leavitt suggests a connection between the time of the earthquake, which was 7:75 p.m. Eastern Time, and the Bible passage Acts 7, verse 57, which recounts the story of the Saint Stephen being stoned to death. And I think the time they got mixed up there, I believe that's supposed to be 7:57, not 7:75. Let me know if you caught that. Now, the White House has been rocked by the violent death of Kirk, a 31-year-old who was close to numerous members of the administration, as well as close friends to the president's son. He was instrumental in Trump's choice to elevate then Ohio Senator J.D. Vance to the vice presidency by naming him as his running mate in last year's elections. Vance, who guest hosts Kirk's eponymous podcast on Monday from his office in the Eisenhower Executive Office building, praised the late firebrand as the smartest political operative I've ever met and a joyful warrior for our country. He also partly blamed his assassination on an incredibly destructive movement of left-wing extremism that he said has grown within the United States over the past few years. Kirk Vance said, was a critical part of getting Donald Trump elected as president, getting me elected as vice president. And so much of our success over the last 7 months is due to his efforts, his staffing, his support, and his friendship. Levitz, who appeared as a guest alongside Vance, said Kirk had been so inspiring to me as a young conservative woman, and recalled how she'd gotten to know him during her failed 2022 campaign for the New Hampshire House seats. Now, I got to know him personally when I decided to run for Congress, and he was a tremendous supporter and friend, she said. So there you have it, you guys. And she is saying God is angry with what is going on right now, and God's anger is directly tied to earthquakes, and it's a warning of biblical prophecy and what's to come. And again, let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? If so, drop a yes. If no, drop a no. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But we're hearing that the warnings are coming out, and we have just experienced that massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake in the Pacific Ring of Fire yet again over in Russia, the Kamchatka Peninsula. So we are seeing those tsunami alerts being issued throughout various parts of the Pacific. We're hearing that the west coast of the United States, for the most part, is saying there will not be a tsunami hitting, so they don't have to worry. Hawaii, Alaska, other parts, though, are still on alert. As you can see here, tsunami advisory issued in Alaska after a massive quake strikes off of Russia near the site of July's historic tremor. This was a 7.8 that has just hit today. It says the Aleutian Islands in Alaska on Thursday are under a tsunami advisory after the 7.8 magnitude quake that just hit. The White House is warning of God's anger. And take a look at this. Some other smaller earthquakes hitting in California as well. A 2.4 magnitude hits Petrolia, California, and a 2.1 magnitude detected near Round Valley, California today, September the 18th as well. So the earth is trembling left and right. We are seeing earthquakes, massive earthquakes hitting. And as you saw that map, it showed all the different ones that have been over a 7.0 since the 1950s. Well, we have been seeing a lot over 7.0 just recently. Ever since that 8.8 struck in the Kamchatka Peninsula, it seems like just every other day now. Massive 6.0, 7.0, 8.0 earthquakes have been hitting. The one that really triggered it was an 8.8 massive quakes that are striking. We're hearing there are parades of volcanoes in the Pacific Ring of Fire, tectonic plate movement. There's currently a tsunami warning for various parts of the Pacific. And as more comes out, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date. But a lot unfolding around our world right now, and that is the latest. So I'll keep an eye out. If we get any updates on more earthquakes or more tsunamis, I'll let you know here on the channel. But as always, these are going to be linked in the description, cited, put them on the screen. Subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up like button. If you haven't done so yet, just helps spread this out further, and I'll keep you up to speed on everything. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care. God bless. I will catch you in the next one. This is Steve.